The time, July 4th, 1054 AD. The place, Imperial Palace of the Sung Dynasty, ruling at that time in China. Astronomers held a place of significance here. The heavens were being regularly charted by the astronomers at the Chinese Astronomical Bureau. 5 observers would spend every night on a tower, watching the skies. One would gaze towards the zenith, while 4 others would scan the 4 corners of the horizon, in order that nothing that happened in the heavens above would be missed by them. The appearance of the stars in the sky was a very familiar feature to them. Not unlike other civilizations, constellations were woven into the visible star patterns and filled with intriguing lore. A jugalbandi of astronomical observations and mythology. All heavenly objects were then seen to follow predictable paths in the sky. The sun, moon, stars, and the planets. However, on this date, 4th of July, year 1054, something strange was found by them. A new and unknown star, a guest star, has suddenly appeared in the constellation Tianquan or Orion. A star previously not noted in that region, and a star which rivaled Venus in brightness. This guest ruled these regions of the sky for nearly 2 years, 21 days out of which it was bright enough to have been seen in daytime, and then slowly faded out of sight. The guest had departed. We now know of this phenomenon as the occurrence of an explosive death of a massive star, a supernova. A guest star so bright that it was even visible in the daytime. Like Venus, did no other civilization see it? Every civilization has shown its imagination, creativity, and powers of observation by noting the positions and motions of stars, the motions of planets against this background, and by populating the skies with imaginary figures drawn through the patterns of stars. Visible patterns of the stars. These remain same for different observers. An amazing variety is attained by weaving invisible imaginary shapes into these visible anchors. The Saptarishi, for instance, 7 venerable sages our ancestors saw in this asterism. The tail of a big bear to the Native Americans, a plow for the English, and an emperor with servants for the ancient Chinese. Whatever the imagination, the usefulness of this asterism in pointing out the pole star to us remains the same. The pole star itself holding its place in heavens while all other stars rose and set. These observations were common to all northern hemisphere dwellers, regardless of whether the real underlying reason for these changes was understood by them or not. In every country and every civilization, people existed who knew the skies thoroughly. Any change in it, a guest star appearing in any region of the sky, for instance, would certainly have been noticed by many. There must be other records of the appearance, not only of the guest star of 1054 AD, but a handful of other such occurrences in history. The constellation Cassiopeia, representing a queen, has been the apparent address for a few such guests in history. Chinese and Japanese record a supernova in this region in the year 1181. More detailed observations were done by Tycho Brahe when a supernova was observed in this constellation on November 6, 1572. The preceding discussion was regarding historical records of guest stars. But what was this strange cosmic phenomenon? Scattered amidst the background of seemingly countless stars, which seemed so unchanging, here and there new stars were appearing. Such short-lived ones, shining brightly for a few months and then disappearing from sight altogether. Before an understanding of this could be arrived at, the next chapter in this saga unfolded. The time was the winter of the year 1758. The entire astronomical community was getting ready to observe the return of the comet whose orbit had been calculated by Halley several decades earlier. Notable amongst them was Charles Messier, who had made comet hunting his mission in life. Paradoxically, one of his greatest contributions to astronomy was to be the cataloguing of a little over 100 deep sky objects, which he would disparagingly refer to as comet masqueraders, objects which would have a fuzzy appearance and which turned out later to encompass an entire range of astronomical objects other than comets. The first object in his catalogue, termed M1, was located in exactly the same part of the sky where the guest star of 1054 AD was observed. This, of course, was not at that time realized. That realization was to come later. Lord Rosse of England also observed this object, M1. A peculiar shape and the name of Crab Nebula was given by him to this object. He later repudiated his original drawings, but the name stuck to it, the Crab Nebula.